All right, friend, I know why you're here. You're struggling with your videos, you're struggling with your content, and the algorithm kind of hates you. So I'm going to teach you how to help the algorithm to love you again. And more importantly, we're talking about 4 pro tips that have seriously transformed me as a content creator and things that are so important for you to know, especially if you're brand new, because this will literally make or break it. So let's get right to it. The very first thing to consider is that it is okay to do trial and error. When it comes to trial and error as a content creator, so many of you are creating content for yourself and you're not creating content for the audience or the subscribers that have subscribed to you for a reason. So let's consider this. As a new content creator and as a new pet influencer, you're going to be watching other people's content and saying, hey, that worked out really well. I need to make something similar. So you try it. Maybe it does good and maybe it doesn't. It just flops. And you're like, okay, how does this work? So you try again. And maybe what I did is create a playlist of different videos that I thought that I could kind of recreate, and that really inspired me to make similar content. Now, as a beginner, you're going to do a lot of trial and error. You've heard me talk about the 3-month hump. It is very, very real. The 3-month hump is essentially where you're creating content for about 90 days, which how long does it take to create a new habit? At least 90 days. Some people say up to 6 months. So when you're creating content and you are literally a brand new influencer, it is going to be really, really hard to try and fail and try and fail and try and fail and try and maybe succeed a little bit and then try and fail and try and fail and then try and succeed a little bit more. And it goes on and on. Let's backtrack. How does this affect the algorithm? I want you to consider as a beginner, again, you're going to do lots of try and fails, but eventually you're going to find something that works. When you find something that works, I'm going to need you to stick to it. And we're going to talk about that later in this video. But as an experienced creator, one big thing that you might really mistake on is when you're creating content and trying new things, your algorithm has already set an exact sub niche to your content. So they know that you are a dog creator that responds to an audience that loves small dogs, cute little videos, yada, yada, yada. And we're talking a super sub niche. And the problem with this is, let's say you create cute, mindless entertainment videos, but you really have a passion for feeding your dog healthy foods. Okay, so that's a different sub niche. So if you try this, the target audience is actually very different. And the algorithm knows this, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, but you're going to also try to target a different audience. And so you are likely not going to be able to have such success as the content you already were making. But doing that shift can also be a benefit. To really help the algorithm, I want you to at least look through the content that you've already created. When you look through the content you've already created and pinpoint all the videos that did really, really well, those are the ones that potentially your algorithm has centered you around. And so by finding what had worked and recreating what had worked is going to be really, really helpful, especially by tying in what had worked with the new sub niche that you want to relate yourself to. There's something about the content that you made that worked, right? Obviously. So you want to be able to tie that in with a new niche that you want to try to get into. But as a beginner, I want you to really consider that as you start doing all this trial and error that I mentioned earlier, find the content that works. So let's say one video all of a sudden got 2,000 views and you've been really getting just 200. Go back, look at the analytics and look at that video. Was it the title? Was it the caption? Was it the thumbnail? Was it the hook? Was it the on text screen? Was it a really quick transition that you did? Was it a voiceover? Oh my gosh, there's so many things that you have to kind of look through to figure out what can I replicate from that so that I can do it again. Okay, so let's go into the second step. That was a lot of explaining of background information because I want to get more specific here. The second step that I want you to consider is consistency. Now, you've probably heard that the key to success is consistency. And yes, that is completely true and completely relevant here. So you've done tons of trial and error. Okay. So you kind of let's say you got through that step of maybe you posted 30, 50 videos and you have a honed down kind of exactly what type of content that your specific following or subscriber base really likes. Okay. So you've already done that and you kind of have a good idea that maybe your content or your audience really likes cute, adorable videos of your pet hamster. Cool. So now you're going into consistency. So the idea is to give the algorithm consistent content or give your people consistent content. Now, Every single platform is different. You don't have to be posting 2-3 times a day. You don't have to be posting daily. The idea is to make sure your audience knows when they're going to be fed your content. Really stay away from tying consistency with the idea of posting very, very often, because that is not true. There are plenty of creators out there who post one video a week, and yet let's say they get 20,000 to 100,000 plus views on their one video, but their audience knows that they're producing one video. And it is very different than those creators who are just pumping out all this content, daily, every single day to try to make content, because sure, their followers are going to recognize that that's what to expect from that creator. I don't want you to have burnout. We've talked about the 3-month hump. The 3-month hump is that idea of after about 90 days, it is so likely you're going to burn out if you haven't focused on delayed gratification. With delayed gratification being that idea that you put in the effort now to grow your skills, to recognize you're on a journey, to be able to consistently learn and do lots of trial and error so that down the road, you're going to be really, really good at your skills. You're going to be creating super great content. You'll have the money to be able to buy even better equipment and whatnot. But as a new creator, to help the algorithm really help you out, I need you to think about the idea of super fans. The algorithm loves when people comment, share, like your content, right? And those small things are what helps boost your content. So from the beginning, you need to be engaging with your audience. You need to make sure that you are helping build those super fans, as I talked about in so many of my other videos. And building those super fans are what's going to help those videos keep showing up on their profile so that it will again keep building and building and building and building. If you're an experienced creator and you need help to get your algorithm back over to you and help boost you again, the biggest thing when it comes to super fans is to start asking your audience what they want. Okay. So you want to ask your audience, whether that's through the community tabs or literally on comments, you can say, hey, I'm glad you like this video. What other type of content do you want to see? And yeah, that's extra effort that you're going to be putting in. But if the algorithm is not being nice to you, I need to consider this important detail. It is because the algorithm is giving your audience different content than what they originally subscribed to you for. If they subscribe for mindless entertainment content and you're giving them informational content, they're not going to be watching that and they don't care about watching that. And so over time, the algorithm's not going to feed your subscribers what they want. And therefore, less comments, less shares, less likes, and then your engagement drops. And when you have dropped engagement, the algorithm says, well, you don't create good enough content, so we're not going to give you more subscribers and we're not going to give your content out to more people. That is the key to algorithms. And so you have to keep this in mind, especially from day one. Let's go into step 3 because it really ties into what we've already talked about. Step 3, or the third pro tip that I need you to just drill into your brain, is to find what works and stick to it. If you've watched a lot of my other content, you've heard this one, but too many people don't listen. Okay. Too many people don't listen to this tip. And this is everything. All right. We literally just talked about what it is that the algorithm is doing to you or what you are doing if the algorithm is not being nice to you. So you need to look back at the content that you've made and figure out what worked. And you need to go back and start sticking to that, because what is it that your subscribers came to you for? Figure that out. Make that type of content and everything will change. And I want to give you a little bit of an example through my own pet creator accounts. Half of my audience likes silly videos and half my audience likes really cute videos. And for the audience that likes really cute videos, I have personally found that quick videos of my cat meowing does really, really well. Every single time that I post that specific type of content, it does well. And so again, that triggers in my head, maybe I should make some more of that. Okay. So what I do is every single week, because I have things really scheduled out and consistent for my subscriber base to know what they're going to get, every single week I create one piece of content of my cat doing the same type of cute meowing, and it does really well. So you have to kind of keep that in mind, figure out what works and replicate it. Figure out what works, do it again and do it again, and figure out your schedule for doing it again and again and again. And then the last pro tip is pretty much like the most important thing that you could think of, and it is to keep your target audience in mind. Keeping your target audience in mind is everything. That is literally the whole idea behind fixing your issues you have with the algorithm. Why did your people subscribe to you? I need you to ask yourself that question all the time. If you start dipping and your algorithm's starting to do pretty bad and it's not giving you views, what are you doing that's different than when your videos were doing good? Did you change the type of content? Did you change your thumbnails? Did you change your captions? Did you change your engagement with your followers? Yada, 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 yada. There's a lot of metrics to look at, which is why it's so important to keep an eye on your analytics and figure out the videos that did bad, figure out what you changed than your usual, or the videos that actually did really good, and then reflect on that and make changes going forward. If you don't have a target audience, I need you to stop everything and figure out your target audience right now. Your target audience is who you are making your video for. By making your video for a specific target audience and knowing what your subscribers, your followers want, that's going to change everything. If you're making content for what you want, that changes everything too. If you're a beginner, I want you to think about what can you do right now to nurture the audience that you already have and to start building super fans out of your current audience. If you're experienced, what can you do to reflect on the videos that had done well to replicate that and try to build super fans from the audience that you already have? Engagement is everything. You want your current subscriber base to be really engaged with your content. You want them to like, share, and comment and to be engaged with your content. You want your audience to have a relationship with you and your pet as a pet influencer. So that was a lot, but what are the 5 specific pro tips and changes that you can make to help the algorithm like you again? Number 1 is being okay with trial and error. Changing up things to figure out what works. There's a lot out there that your audience could care less about, and there's a lot out there that your audience wants. So you want to trial and error. And this is tricky if you already are an experienced creator though. Number 2 is to be consistent. You want your audience to know what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. Doing this also really helps algorithm because you don't want to be posting every single day for a week and then one time the next week and then 2 times the next week and then every single day for the next week. Inconsistency is not good. Third, you want to find what works and stick to it. This again is so important because we're just trialing and erroring, let's call it, forever and just putting out all this different content. The algorithm doesn't know what you want and doesn't know what type of audience to serve your content to. Tying into this is the idea that you want to keep your target audience always in mind. Why did people subscribe to you? Because you want to feed those people more content of the reason why they are following you. So with all this said, I really hope that you have a little bit more success with your algorithm now that you have these things in mind. It is so important because you really can make a change if you've had some dips. Know that it is actually very normal for you to have some dips after major algorithm changes, and there have been a lot within the past year. I've been affected by them. I've talked to plenty of other creators who have been affected by algorithm changes, but just know that you can build back up if you are smart about what your target audience wants. But as always, you can go get your free workbook and your free mini course down in the description below, where you learn about the 8 most important secrets to becoming a successful pet influencer. So go check that out in the description below and let's continue the conversation in the comments. We'll see you in the next video.